It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Another Wednesd-AI. So this week I am bringing to you this really cool crystal cloud business card holder. I really like how it turned out. I didn't have a game plan going in. I just kind of winged it. So I hope you have fun. Let's go make something awesome together. I'm going to start by building the back and the bottom of my card holder, and I'm going to use this. This is a pretty standard mold, comes with most kits, but you can certainly buy one or use whatever shape you'd like. I've actually made one using this before. I might put a photo of it and just used this as like the whole bar. But I have something in mind that should help this look a little cooler. So the first thing I'm going to do is use these two colors because I really like them. These are actually from the Dollar Tree. I bought a kit that had like 4 different colors in it, and they're actually really nice. So I'm going to start first with this purple color, and I'm going to just kind of like pick a little bit up and then dab it into the lid. And then I want to dust this over the top sides of all of these different pieces here. And that actually maybe wasn't enough. Yeah, there we go. Okay. These are super pretty, but they are very light. They don't have a ton of color payoff. But I still really like them for some reason. Kind of bring some of this over. And then, so I'm gonna put purple along all the tops. And what's funny, and what's gonna be funny is I'm actually gonna use all 3 sizes for different purposes. So I'm just going through, and if it a little bit gets on the bottom portion where I'm planning to put the green, that's okay. It's just going to add more color and more kind of like a nice little ombre effect as it fades into the green. I remember when I got my first grown-up job, my brother bought me a business card wallet or like little holder. And I mean, I don't know if I've ever been so proud of something in my life because it was my first like grown-up job. And he got that for me for Christmas, and it was just really nice. He also got me the job too, so he worked at a cell phone company, a big one, and he kept telling me I need to come and work there too. So I was working at like a grocery store at the time in the bakery, and he knew I wanted to get a car and that I wanted to go back to school and stuff like that. So he convinced me that it would be a really good idea to come back or to join that company. And it was a great first job. I worked there for almost 10 years. Okay, first color down. Now I'm going to do the green. I'm just using the exact same brush to do the green part as well. Please ignore my awful fingernails. I need to repaint them so badly. Okay, she's nice and dusted. Now I'm going to add in like a thin layer of resin, and then I'm going to coat it with some glitter. So I'm just going to do a very thin coat into each of these sections. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of twist and rotate until it fills mostly. And then any gaps I'll just go through, with like a silicone tool or something. Okay, now I'm going to use my silicone tool to just fill in anywhere that doesn't have enough. If I need to add more, I will, but I'm trying to get these to be a little bit thin because I want to sandwich a layer of glitter inside. Okay. And then now that it's more spread out, I'm gonna just kind of keep tilting a little bit just to make sure all of the corners get at least a little resin in them, because I don't want to have any little like chipped pieces anywhere. Okay, that should be okay. I think so. Now I'm gonna sprinkle some glitter in there. I have this glitter here. And let's see, I'll use my little gold spoon. This is just like a party spoon, or like a cocktail spoon. Okay. I'm running out of this, but I have this in a bunch of different colors. So actually a friend gave me a bunch of like glitter and stuff because she was doing like bath bombs and candles and things, and dabbled in a little bit of like resin coaster making, but she didn't really stick with it. So I got to inherit all of her awesome glitter and some of her supplies. Okay, and I just want to put a little bit more on this one up here toward the top. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to cure this, and because I want these to remain as flat as possible, I'm going to set my lamp up so that it just hovers over it instead of like getting really close. So we're talking like maybe this far away. Okay, so far so good. Now I'm going to give it another coat of the resin, and I just noticed that my little silicone, or my little plastic thing here, is starting to warp. Okay, I've got my glitter covered, and now I'm going to cure again. Okay, so these are ready to come out of the mold. They're still a little bit warm. So I always like to, when something's still hot like this, I like to place something on top of it to kind of like hold it flat. I don't want it to bubble up or curve or anything along those lines. So I'm just going to leave this on here for a minute or so to give it a chance to cool down. Okay, so I have a handful of these little double pointed crystal molds, and then this one doesn't have a double point, but I like the shape of it. So what I'm going to do, I've already, if you're new to my channel, these normally have little bits of silicone that are designed to create like a hole for like a necklace. I always cut those out. I just bend them out like this, find it, and then I snip it off. I would rather put my own hole if I'm going to put a hole. And then if I'm going to do a project like this where I don't want a hole necessarily, then, you know, it's just going to work better for me this way. So I have these. Now, these are kind of big. I kind of am thinking I want that as my focal point. So that, and then what I like about these, because they're double terminated is the rock hound word for it, I can actually cut them in half and then make two out of one. So I'm going to do that with each of these, and then like create like a little bit of a rise like that. Now I may even trim this one off a little bit depending on the size of my backing so that I can make sure that it's going to fit nicely. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of glitter into each of these. So I'm just going to use that exact same glitter. And again, I'm going to use my little cocktail spoon. You definitely want to make sure you get as much gunk out of these as possible. They're very, like, silicone loves hair. So trying to keep all my dog hair off is really, really tricky. But I like to just kind of turn them inside out and then tap all over with a piece of Scotch tape or sellotape if you're in the UK. And just make sure that I get off as much gunk as possible. That one looks good. I already did most of them, but I think just sitting here, the ambient, the ambient dog hair that's constantly floating around. There we go. And they don't even come in here that often. It's literally just like, it's, you know, I have a German Shepherd mix. One of my dogs is a German Shepherd mix, and I swear every week when I sweep the floor, it's like I have an entire new dog. Okay, so I've got these. I'm going to use my little spoon, and I'm going to put just a tiny bit into each one. Just to give it a little bit of color. That one's kind of bigger, so I'm going to give it a little bit extra. Maybe a little extra in that one too. Okay, set that aside, set this aside. And then now that I have the glitter in there, I'm going to kind of like mash it around to make sure that I get a little bit into every facet, every crevice. I want it, you know, I want it to be very, very, very glittery. And I'm just going to do that with all of them. And again, because of the nature of silicone, it likes to stick to things. So this actually works really nicely. And it's easier than trying to like take my brush in there and like get it into all the corners. Okay. Now at this point, if you wanted to, you could actually like tap out the excess if you wanted. I'm going to leave it in there because it's just going to float in the resin anyway. Can't tell if that's on the outside or the inside. Here we go. Like that. Make sure everything has at least a little bit. Okay. And now I'm going to fill them with resin. I'm going to do it in a couple of different layers so that I can minimize how much bubble comes in. So I'm going to do that now. And then just to prevent any spillage, I'm going to use my little silicone mat like that. It also kind of makes it easier to see. There we go. Okay, so just a couple of little layers to get started, and I don't even really need them to be completely full. Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of wash it around a little bit. Okay, let's cure. Okay, and I'm gonna put another layer. And now I'm gonna do one final layer. I had to switch to this light because I once again forgot to charge the other one. It lasts for a really long time, but I'm so bad at making sure my electronics are charged. Just ask my husband. He literally, it's like a running joke that I live my life on like 4% battery. Leave a comment down below if you are Team Mary or Team Sean. Team Mary lives their life on 1% battery. Team Sean always makes sure that his battery is at 100%. I wish that my brain worked the way his does. Okay, so these babies are extremely hot right now, so I'm going to set them off to the side to cool down till they can be handled. And we're going to come back to these guys. So let me show you kind of my game plan here. I'm going to, so again, like, I think this is a good example of the width of a business card. So I want to, first I'm going to unmold these and clean up their edges. Oh, they're gorgeous. They're not sticky because I didn't touch them while they were still hot. And they look really pretty. I'm really into the color. Oh, it's gorgeous. Okay, so I'm just gonna very, very, very gently. And if you have a deburring tool, that would be even better. But I want to make sure I'm doing this super gently so that I don't accidentally cut myself. And you can also do it in this direction, which is probably preferable. But I feel like I don't have as much control when I do that. But, you know, your mileage may vary. Just be super careful. And if you don't trust yourself with that, you can also just use like a little pair of scissors to trim it away, or any other item. Like I said, if you have that deburring tool, that'd be great. There we go. This one has a bit of craziness happening too. Very, very softly and gently. There we go. Okay. Okay, so like I said, this is roughly the size that I'm looking at. And let's see, what if we did like this one and then two of these on the side? That would be pretty cool. Yeah, like I like this. I think this is a neat look to it. It's very Art Deco. And then here, this will eventually go like that, but like upward like this. And then I'm going to make a couple more to put in the middle here, but I'm going to make those clear. And then this one is just extra. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is start putting these together, and I'm going to do that by, I'm going to do that very gently. And in fact, I might just use this again. Okay. I'm going to fill these two in the middle here, or these two kind of smaller ones. And these. These are going to be my bottom portion. But before I cure them, I'm going to actually use some of what's in there to help me stick these together. So I'm going to just take a little tiny dollop. Don't want it to be too much. And then I'm just going to paint it along the edge here. And then push those two together. And then same thing on the other side. I'm going to paint along the edge. I still have some on here too. And we can always reinforce this once it's all together. Okay, so like that. And I just want to make sure that they're perfectly flat along the bottom. Yeah. Okay. And then just for the sake of making sure it's going to work right, I'm going to put just a little bit down the seam here. And then these I'm also going to be curing right alongside. I don't do a lot of mold making or using molds. I like to sculpt things freehand, sort of. I guess that's the right word. But so a lot of times I use these molds as like like little palettes. I'll put alcohol ink in them or things like that. But I think that this is going to be a really, really cool use of this particular mold. Okay, and then I'm going to give that a cure. Okay, so now my game plan is to do the same thing by connecting each of these two pieces. And I may or may not connect them in the middle, but essentially this is going to go like this. And then that's going to be the base of my card holder. Now, if you wanted to have like a thicker card holder, you could also do that with these instead. But I'm perfectly happy with how thick this is. And that's what I'll go with. So again, I'm going to add a little bit more resin into this little mold here just to use as my little well. Okay. And then I'm going to just paint a little bit along one side. And then same thing on the other side. Again, I want them to be pretty flat. What can I lay on them to keep them from moving? Nah, this should be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cure. Okay, so now I'm going to be connecting these to here like this. And to do that, same deal. And I'm going to do this one at a time this time. So I'm going to connect this one just so I can make sure that I get it right at the edge. And they should both extend to meet in the middle, but they may or may not touch. Okay. So actually, I am going to connect these together because I think that will actually make it a little easier. So, okay, a little bit of resin right here on the tip, like that, and then I'm going to just use this and press them both against that to make sure that it's held in place properly. And because I want that flat line. These kind of look like fun little pills. I should make some earrings like that. That's kind of cute. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty good. And again, I want it on the flat side or on the shiny side here. And now I need to connect them to this. And once again, I want to make sure that I'm getting a good flush connection. So once again, I'm going to paint a little bit of resin along the top here. It might be a bit too much. Set this aside. And I want the shiny side to be facing upward. So here, and that will give me, okay, and I'm using this glitter box. I'm using the glitter box to make sure I keep a 90-degree angle as it cures. And then once it's done curing, I'm going to add a little bit more resin along the bottom there just to make sure that nothing comes apart. To really, really make sure nothing's going to move, I'm going to put just one more little line of it right there. And I'll use my tool to kind of seal it in a little bit, or try to like maneuver it. I just noticed it's kind of off kilter, but you know what? It's okay. It hangs a little bit more this way, but honestly, it's fine. No one's going to be looking at the bottom anyway. So far, she's looking super cute. Okay. I wonder how many times I say the word okay every time I make a video. Let's see. And then I'm going to create like a little platform right here using these two. And that's where I'm going to like set my crystals up. So once again, little dab here. I love when a project has like repeating patterns. So these these like little window shapes are really, really cute. I love them. Okay, so I have my little platform. I'm going to set that aside for now. I'm going to unmold these and see how they turned out. They are so pretty. Like, look at this. Look at how gorgeous. So, so pretty. Oh my gosh. And finally, this one. I could make crystals all day long. Okay, very cool. Okay, so I have these guys, and I'm thinking like, what if, like, let's just play with it, okay? So this one, I want it to be flat like that. Then this one, and then maybe like that one. Like, how would that look? Or like, or what if we did another one of these instead of this? So the thought I originally had was like, this be the big one, and then these kind of like sit around it like that. Yeah, I mean, I really think like to see my vision come to life, I'm gonna have to cut them in half. This one is not because it has the flat bottom, but the rest of them, I'm gonna just cut them in half. So let's go do that. Okay, so I accidentally lost one. It's like kind of flew away. That's totally all right. That's why we wear our eye protection. And I'm going to just kind of bathe them to get all the dust off. You could rinse them in a cup of water or something. I just am trying to get as much of this fine dust off. That little table saw made such, oh, that one doesn't have any on it, made such quick work of slicing these in half. Okay, so let me dry up a little bit. What I love about this is like I'm already daydreaming about all of the different things that's, you know, you could do with this idea. For instance, there's a new local pizza place that I absolutely love. My husband and I are obsessed with. By the Chef Pizza, Lakeland, Florida. Shout out to you, Pete. Not that he's ever going to see this. But like, imagine making like a little pizza themed version of this. That'd be so cute. There we go. Okay, so we're all dried up for the most part. Let's turn it over and work on this side. Okay. Okay, so like here, maybe it'll be off kilter. And then we'll just kind of stack everybody else up along in different angles. Like that. Yeah, some of them are like slanting different ways, and that's totally perfect. I love that. Like that. And then maybe this big chunky guy can go right there. And the idea is really just giving ourselves a focal piece that also will act as like the barrier for the cards. So maybe something like this. This guy's more or less in the middle. Like that. Yeah, like I really like the way this looks. Cool. Okay, now I'm going to start gluing things together here. And I'm going to start, I think, by connecting these two guys, and then I'll start kind of playing around with everything else. So these two front and center. Now I didn't fully fill this because I really wanted it. No, I didn't fully fill this because I wanted like kind of like a little bit of a gap that will fit into that like this. So I think that that's going to work for me. So I'm going to go back to my overhead and we will start putting this together. You could also just hot glue this down. That would also work. But here at No Rules, Just Resin, I like to use resin only. So I'm just dipping. I'm dipping it into the glitter and then dipping again. And then just kind of setting it where I think it belongs. And if I want to do it kind of like off kilter, that's cool too. Okay. Little dip, glitter, dip, and then maybe this one goes a little bit out front, like that. Let's set this guy aside for a second. Okay, maybe this guy is going to be the focal point. Okay, so I have two more of these guys. I'm going to put them on the back side here, and I might try to like prop them at an angle. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just going to, I do want to get a bit of glitter on the bottom. And then I'm going to just put like a good dollop right there. And I'm going to just kind of hold it in place until it sets. One thing when you're thinking about a crystal matrix, which is like a cluster of crystals or like crystals growing off of something, you want to think of like how crystals are going to naturally form in a normal environment. So for instance, let's put a little bit more there. For instance, like quartz tends to kind of jut off into all different angles. So that's why I really like having, you know, a matrix, so to speak, that doesn't look like perfectly lined up. And you don't want it to lean too far back because remember, you're going to have business cards in there, which I literally just remembered. So I'm trying not to let it lean back too far. And now I can fit this in here. Now I do think that this is going to kind of pose a problem because it is jutting a little bit further. I'll see if I can take any of it off. Nope, that's not going to work. So let's try some scissors. And if it really comes down to it, I can hit it with my Dremel and maybe that'll resolve that. Okay, and like that's pretty cute. I kind of almost wish I didn't add those big ones in the back. I wonder, that one broke off pretty easy. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like this better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill this area up with some glitter just to make sure that it has enough color. And then I will adhere this to this part and she'll be done. All right, guys, here she is. I'm so pleased with her. The only thing she's missing is some business cards, but I really love it. It's like almost like a stylized cloud, and then you've got your crystals, and it's very sturdy. The bottom is nothing special to look at, but like I love this. It's so cute. I don't have any business cards close by, but I do have some magic cards. These these are my husband's magic cards, but I think these are just junk cards. But like, how freaking cute! I love it. It looks so cute. It's so darling. I would hold a lot of business cards too. That's a pretty wide gap. Yeah, so I hope you try this out. If not this particular design, then maybe something similar, or like I said, even like a little pizza or something. But I love how this turned out. It was a lot of fun to make, and I hope that it inspired you. And yeah, let's go put her in the light box and see what she looks like in glam mode. Oh, she's so cool. The colors are so fun and ethereal. It's super functional too. I love a good functional product. So like if you're into doing craft like booths and things like that, I could see these being a big seller. Even if you just had one for yourself to put your cards in, and then you could tell people like, yeah, if you want to, you know, I make these custom or something, that would be really cool too. So I really like it. I hope you had fun. I hope you had fun with this. It was one of those projects where I had an idea. I liked the idea, but I wasn't sure at all how to execute it. And so together we got it done. So yeah, these would make great gifts, great things to sell at markets. And overall, I think you could have a lot of fun with it. So if you do try it out, definitely let me know. I'll have my email in the description. I've also been thinking about setting up a Facebook page, a Facebook group, rather than just a page, so that we can share our ideas together. So if you're interested in joining something like that, let me know. And yeah, I want to hear your ideas. I am so happy that you keep coming back to hear mine. And I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you again next week. Go make something awesome this week, and as always, stay rad. If you enjoyed this project, I have a whole list of them in my Wednesd-AI playlist. Click here to check it out.